Unbelievably, it turns out that Anthony Weiner actually continued to sext and send pictures of his penis after he resigned from office because of a scandal involving sending pictures of his penis. How is that possible? And then he decided to run for mayor knowing he did that. So was he going to pull out of the mayoral race? He was in. Will he be out? Will he go back in? I can't tell what the Weiner is going to do. Well, he had a press conference today. You're going to see that in a second. But let me give you a timeline first. He resigned in the summer of 2011, and then it turns out he started talking with a woman who's 22 years old, and The Dirty has, yes, that's a website, has her account of this, and Weiner largely does not deny it. And she says that they started first talking on July 12th of 2012, about a year after Weiner resigned. I guess he got horny again, and he's like, it's been a year since I sent my penis to anyone. Which, by the way, we don't know if that's true. He might have been doing it all along. This is just one person who's coming forward now. God knows how many more are in that closet. So, she says things were very intense by August of 2012. Of course, it's 1 month later after they started talking. Already talks of the Chicago sex condo and having sexual conversations. We would send naked images to each other and have phone sex. How? How can you do it? I can't believe it. Look, I don't care about his sex life at all. I don't care who he sends his junk to. It's totally irrelevant to me. But if you think you're going to get back into politics, and you know this would cause monumental embarrassment to you, and more importantly, would hurt your chances of being able to get your ideas across and your ideology enacted into law so that you could help people, why would you do it? I mean, you already got caught on it. How can you be this colossally stupid? No, it's a lapse in judgment, and it's not a lapse. It's just bad judgment. He's in a constant lapse of judgment. So I can't take it anymore. As you can see, this guy's a loose cannon. So there are plenty of other Democrats. I think the fact that he's still in the mayoral race, as he announced today, is a bad idea. And the fact that he continued to do that and then got back into the race, bad idea, Jeans. Okay, so now she explains further. Anthony Weiner would send me penis pictures from his Carlos Danger Yahoo email to my Gmail. Really, dude? Carlos Danger? That's the name that you chose, Carlos Danger. My middle name is Danger. You're going to hire this guy with this kind of judgment? At least come up with something that isn't going to be like, this is a sexting account. And you know why he did it, by the way? If you've seen the pictures, you'll know why. I hadn't seen the pictures. I didn't care to see the pictures before. And as I'm reading this story, The Dirty had this giant picture of what was happening, and I couldn't avoid it. It looks like no one could avoid it. It's gigantic. They digitized it, and it nearly reached the floor. Okay, now I'm exaggerating, like there's no way the penis went there, and they shot it from above, but the digitized version was nearly a third leg. And by the way, that's why he's doing it. At least part of the reason why. Because he can't wait to show it to people. His curse is that he was blessed. Because if he had a small penis, he wouldn't be sending it around the country. He wouldn't be like, oh, 22-year-old, wait till you get a load of this. Woo-hoo, right? And he's like, man, I got this thing, and only my wife can see it? Come on, I gotta send this around, you know what I'm saying? Okay, but then don't try to be mayor, because it's a bad idea. All right, but then if you think that's bad, wait till you get a load of this timeline. Then she says, we only spoke once in December of 2012, and then I didn't hear from Anthony Weiner again until April 11th of 2013, when a New York Times article about him was released. He reactivated his Facebook and asked me what I thought of it. That's a couple of months ago! What, like you went back to ask her? That's crazy! Weiner also allegedly offered to help her get featured on a political panel if she did a solid and a hard delete of all their correspondence. Okay, well, she apparently wasn't biting and did not delete those pictures, and now, unfortunately, the world sees them. Now, is he denying it? He said, well, I love this non-denial. I said that other texts and photos were likely to come out, and today they have. So, I told you I was a dick, and it turns out you found out today I'm a dick. Okay. He also said, well, some things that have been posted today are true and some are not. There's no question that what I did was wrong. This behavior is behind me. No, that behavior is in front of you, dude. Okay. You apparently never changed your habits at all. I'm not at all convinced that you didn't send a penis picture before and after the press conference. And now here comes the sad part. So he's got to bring his wife, Huma Abedin, out there, and she's got to vouch for him. It's always incredibly painful. Let's watch.
It was not an easy choice in any way, but I made the decision that it was worth staying in this marriage. That was a decision I made for me, for our son, and for our family. I didn't know how it would work out, but I did know that I wanted to give it a try.
You know, as you watch the whole press conference, he's standing right above her going like, yeah, okay, that's good, that's good. And she's obviously reading from some degree of notes. One person described it like it was almost like being at a funeral. You're like, oh man, let it go, dude. You're really gonna stay in this race? But on the other hand, before we got on air, JR made a good point. He said, look, this is his only chance. If he pulls out now, there's no going back in. So he'll be twice embarrassed. If he goes to run again, people are like, you're crazy. Right now, he's tied or a couple points in the lead, depending on the polls that you look at. He's got to try to weather the storm. He brings his wife out there. We got to go through that process. Then he comes out and he says this.
I'm prepared not to dispute anything that is out there, but suffice it to say that people are out there saying things that are not true. But that's not the point. That's not the point. I accept the responsibility for having these conversations with these people who I never met, with exchanging inappropriate things in the context of our marriage, and that was a mistake, and I bear responsibility for that. That is behind me, and we're trying to move forward. And we recognize it's not going to be easy. We knew at the moment we got into this race that it wasn't going to be easy, but I believe this is an important thing to be doing.
No, I'm done with him. Carlos Danger, sorry. I won't be receiving your tweets or your texts anymore. And in terms of doing this unbelievable thing that once you're past a scandal, you go back into the scandal, that's officially now called pulling a wiener. So, and no one pulls a wiener like Anthony Weiner.